Hi everyone, welcome to today's tutorial. So in this tutorial we're going to be proving this question which says n choose r plus n choose r minus 1 is equal to n plus 1 choose r. So the question says let n and r be positive integers such that n is greater or equal to r. Yeah, so we've been taught to prove. And if you have not yet subscribed to the channel, click on the subscription button and also click on the notification button after subscribing so that you don't miss out the videos that I'm going to be posting. And don't forget to do assist. Don't forget to send me questions in case you have any, and if you have problems in mathematics and physics, feel free to contact me on any of these lines on the screen. I offer tuitions. I can see how I may help you. Alright, so let's quickly look at the question. So the question is here. So we're going to use the formula n choose r is equal to, we know that this is just n factorial over r factorial, then n minus r factorial. So this is what we have as the formula for this. So this is what we're going to apply to prove this question on the screen. So n choose r can also be written as okay, let me just take the left hand side. So I'm taking the left hand side, which is n choose r, then plus n choose r minus 1. So every time you are proving something that is equal to another thing, make sure that you get the complicated part and then and then simplify it into a simpler version. So in this case, we can't get this part to simplify it to this. Yeah, so you always take the complicated part to simplify it to the simpler one. So it's possible for you to move from there to there, but it will take you a number of hours, if not minutes. Yeah, so let's quickly begin. So we start from this complicated part, then we simplify it to that. So this n choose r is a very simple expression that we all know to say can be written as n factorial over r factorial, open brackets, n minus r factorial. And then we say plus, this part can also be written using the same format, this one, which is n factorial, then divided by, we're going to have r minus 1 factorial, and then open brackets. So this will be n minus the r there, which is that part there. So it's going to be r minus, yeah, so this one we're going to have a plus there, and this will be a 1. And the reason why it's going to be like that is because when we say n minus and then r minus 1, if we simplify this, we're going to have n minus negative times r, we have negative r, negative times negative 1 there will give us a positive 1. So this is why I've written that, and then we have a factorial outside. So from there we can now simplify that further. So how do we do the simplifying? So this part, which is this side, is going to be, so this side, if you check here, we have r minus 1. So the only way we can get r minus 1 from this expression, it's by finding r factorial and end at r minus 1 factorial. So we're going to have n factorial there over r will be the first number there, and then open brackets r minus 1 factorial. And then from there we'll get this part here. The reason why I'm doing this is because we know that if they give you 4 factorial, it means that they are saying you start with the same 4, which is the same r there, and then the next number there will be 4 minus 1, which is going to be 3. That is r minus 1, which is 4 minus 1, r minus 1 is equal to 3. So if I want, I can end at 3 and just put a 3 factorial, because I know to say 3 factorial is also, it can also be written as what? As times 2, 3 times 2 times 1. But if I don't want to write this, I can just end at 3 factorial. So this is what I've done. I've just ended at r minus 1 factorial. Then of course I have n minus r there factorial, but I don't have n minus r in this one. So how do I get that? Is to find the factorial of this one. So finding the factorial of that is going to be, so on top there I have n factorial, the denominator there is going to be r minus 1 factorial, and then there we're going to have the first number, of course, will be the same n. So in this case our n is just this part. The same example I gave here, if you have 4 factorial, you start with the same 4. So if we have this factorial, we start with this same one. And then next, we're going to subtract 1 from the whole expression. So if we subtract 1 from n minus r plus 1, we subtract 1, we're going to get this part as a 0. So meaning we're just going to remain with n minus r. So we get n minus r there, and then we put a factorial there. So from there, what we can do is to look at what is common and factorize the common part. So how do we factorize? So how do we do the factorizing? So we can see that n factorial there is common. Then everything over, we know that there is n factorial, there is n factorial. So it's common, we write it there. The other part which is common is r minus 1, r minus 1. So we write r minus 1 there, factorial. The other part is n minus r factorial, n minus r factorial. So I have n minus r factorial. Then we open the brackets. The remaining parts, we write them in the brackets. So we have 1 minus, or rather 1 over r. Then apart from that, we also have we have 1 over r, which is remaining there. Then here we're just remaining with 1 over n minus r plus 1. This is what we have. So we have to simplify this further. So simplifying this further is simple. So simplifying this further is simple. So we find the common denominator here. So the common denominator, okay, before we do that, okay, let me just simplify this part and then I'll write it somewhere. So simplifying this, we're going to have 1 minus r plus 1 over n minus r plus 1. So the common denominator will be r, open brackets, n minus r plus 1. And then this into that will give us this times 1, we get n minus r plus 1 there. And then we say this plus there, we write it there. Then this into that is r. So r times 1, we have r. So negative r plus r there will give us what? It will give us, so this will give us 0. So on top there will just remain with n and positive 1. So n plus 1, that's what we're going to remain with. And then the denominator will be r, then n minus r plus 1. This is what we have. So this part here can also be written as this part here. So let me erase and write that. Okay. So this is what we have. This is what we have. And then we open the brackets there. And then the numerator there will be n plus 1. Then the denominator will be r, open brackets, n minus r plus 1. So this is what we have. So now if we multiply this times that, n factorial times n plus 1. So this is where you have to pay attention, because it needs a lot of thinking. So n factorial times, okay, let me first multiply them. So I have n factorial, open brackets, n plus 1. This is what I have. Then the denominator is r. Then from there we have n minus 1. When I multiply this and that, factorial, and we have n minus r factorial. Then there is n minus r plus 1, n minus r plus 1. So this is what we have. So this is what we have. And then when you look at this part, so looking at this part, this can also be written as n plus 1 factorial. So the numerator there, it can be written as n plus 1 factorial. Why do I say that? So if I have n plus 1, if I say n plus 1 factorial, the next step, how do I find the solution for this one? Of course, the first one will be n plus 1. Then the next step will be this same expression minus 1. So n plus 1 minus 1 will give me what? This part will give me a 0. So I'm just going to have what? N. So if I'm going to have n, and I don't want to write the remaining terms this side, I can just say n factorial there. That's what it means. So if you look at this n plus 1 and n factorial, that's what we have on top there. So which can also be written as what? N plus 1 factorial. Okay. So the denominator there, we also do the same. We look at it properly and see what we can simplify there. So when you look at r, and okay, so I made a mistake here. It's supposed to be r minus 1, not n minus 1. It's supposed to be r minus 1. So even this part, when you look at it, r times r minus 1 factorial, it can also just be written as r factorial. Why? Because if you have r factorial, so r factorial can, so if I say r factorial can also be written as r times r minus 1 times r minus 2 times r minus 3. As a result, instead of writing r minus 2, r minus 3, I can just say r minus 1 factorial. So this is what it means. So this part here can also be written as r factorial. Then when you look at this one and this one, there is also n minus r, there is also n minus r there, but we have a plus 1 there. So this one is just the same as what we had on top there. We have n plus 1 and n factorial. So having that in mind, we can also conclude that this part can also be written as what? N minus r plus 1 factorial. So when you write this, so when you look at this expression, let me write it here properly so that you see what I'm doing. Okay. Okay. Alright, so we have n plus 1 factorial, and then the denominator will be r factorial. Then open brackets, we can rearrange this to n plus 1 minus r factorial. So remember the formula for n choose r. So the formula for n choose r is, so we know that the formula for n choose r is simply just what? So let me do this. The formula for n choose r, we always say what is there factorial. So what is on top there factorial, then what is down there factorial, and then open brackets, we say what is on top minus what is down. So we say n minus r and then factorial. This is what we do. So even this one, if you look at this is already in this format. So what is on top is what? N plus 1. So I'll write my n plus 1 there, and then down there, if you check, there is r factorial, which is so we have r factorial there. Yeah, we have r factorial there, and then apart from that, we also have n. So what is on top minus what is down. So what is on top minus what is down. What is on top minus what is down. So what is on top minus what is down. So what is down is what? R. So this is the R that we have. So we have shown, we have proved that it's equal to that. So you can conclude by saying, hence proved. Alright, thank you very much for watching today's tutorial. If you have not yet subscribed to the channel, make sure that you click on the subscription button and the notification button. And if you have any questions that you'd like to ask, feel free to contact me using the lines on the screen. And then if you need tuitions in physics or mathematics, feel free to also contact me using these same contacts, and then we'll see how we can help each other. My name is Hamted. See you in the next tutorial video. Shalom, shalom.